say barefaced lies. I'll say barefaced lies. I'll say barefaced lies. Again, barefaced lies. I'll say barefaced lies. I'll say barefaced lies. I'll say barefaced lies. Again.
That's right, yeah, we got an agenda. And it's your money we're gonna spend, yeah. Do you want where it's all gonna end, yeah? Do you feel me, we never wanna defend, yeah? Cause when the truth becomes so easy to disguise, you get shooting cold, overgrown, postal road, barefaced lies.
Barefaced lies. Barefaced lies.
Hey Sean, you got a party, got that little party going on there. Keep to the left, you can't think right, so everything you do goes wrong, yeah. Incompetence just leads to disaster. Corruption brings it on even faster. What you say?
That's right, yeah, we got an agenda. And it's your money we're gonna spend, yeah. Do you want where it's all gonna end, yeah? Do you think we never wanna defend, yeah? Cause when the truth becomes so easy to disguise, you get shooting cold, overgrown, postal road, barefaced. That's right, yeah, we got an agenda. And it's your money we're gonna spend, yeah. Do you want where it's all gonna end, yeah? Do you think we never wanna defend, yeah? Cause when the truth becomes so easy to disguise, you get shooting cold, overgrown, postal road, barefaced lies.
Barefaced lies. Barefaced lies.
Comrades, you always told us you'd build us all a new Jerusalem, yeah. You talk the talk, but when you walk, you only leave a crooked line there. And you don't see the trouble that's brewing if all you do is just what you're doing.
That's right, yeah, we got an agenda. And it's your money we're gonna spend, yeah. Do you want where it's all gonna end, yeah? Do you think we ever wanna defend, yeah? Cause when the truth becomes so easy to disguise, you get shooting cold, overgrown, postal road, barefaced lies.
Is this where you wanna be? Debt and childhood poverty. Won't somebody set us free from this corrupt kleptocracy? Oh yeah.
Barefaced lies.
That's right, yeah, we got an agenda. And it's your money we're gonna spend, yeah. Do you want where it's all gonna end, yeah? Do you think we ever wanna defend, yeah? Cause when the truth becomes so easy to disguise, you get shooting cold, overgrown, postal road, barefaced. That's right, yeah, we got an agenda. And it's your money we're gonna spend, yeah. Do you want where it's all gonna end, yeah? Do you think we ever wanna defend, yeah? Cause when the truth becomes so easy to disguise, you get shooting cold, overgrown, postal road, barefaced. That's right, yeah, we got an agenda. And it's your money we're gonna spend, yeah. Do you want where it's all gonna end, yeah? Do you think that we ever wanna defend, yeah? Cause when the truth becomes so easy to disguise, you get shooting cold, overgrown, postal road, barefaced. That's right, yeah, we got an agenda. And it's your money we're gonna spend, yeah. Do you want where it's all gonna end, yeah? Do you think that we ever wanna defend, yeah? Cause when the truth becomes so easy to disguise, you get shooting cold, overgrown, postal road, barefaced.
This is the time to stand up now. We can't carry on like this. This is the time to stand up now. We can't carry on like this. This is the time to stand up now. We can't carry... This is the time to stand up now. We can't carry on like this. This is the time to stand up now. We can't carry on like this. This is the time to stand up now. We can't carry on like this.
We began this journey 2 years ago. I think few of us thought we would get this far. In just under a week's time, not only are there elections, there's a raft of independents standing right across this town. And even in the places where the mainstream parties candidates are standing, every one of them is now dancing to our tune and repeating not just the issues that we have been raising, but now also mimicking the solutions that we have been putting forward. And they call us rabble.
Do not fear them. Do not fear any of them. On the 20th of November 2003, James Ignatius O'Rourke McMahon was elected councillor for the Failsworth East Ward of Oldham. Deeply ambitious, he ruthlessly rose to power, and by 2011 he was already leader of the council. In 2015, exploiting a Labour Party loophole, he became MP for Oldham West and Royton. If only the people of the town knew then what they now know. Do not fear them. Do not fear any of them.
Good evening. The 2nd of May 2021, another Recusant 9 transmission. This is the last one before the local elections scheduled on this Thursday, the 6th of May. We have standing a number of heavyweight candidates, all nervous, all apprehensive, all fearful of the independents who have rise next to fight them. We have Sean Fielding, so petrified in Failsworth after his repeated unlawful illegal actions have failed to silence opposition. we have independents standing against him. And so apprehensive is the Labour Party, they have all but abandoned Fielding to his fate. Isn't that right, Sean? Abandoned to his fate. So whilst you have Angela Rayner, Jim McMahon lobbying away in the cartel-controlled Asian wards, campaigning for the likes of Jabbar, putting out videos for Sean Fielding, there is practically silence. Why is that, Sean? Is it because you have covered up the grooming and gang rape of children in this town? Is it because you've said, here, Jim, hold my drink. You wasted 100 million. Watch me make the town go bankrupt. Why, Sean? Why? Is it true that you really believed you were promised the MP seat in Rochdale if you just toed the party line? Well, guess what, Sean? The rug's just about to be pulled from under your feet. And even if we lose, even if we come up short, this town will not be the same again. We have Howard Sykes in Shaw, and here I am on camera, quite transparently referring to him as not a one-time, but a two-time child sex offender's self-declared friend. Cyril Smith, self-declared friend of that horrific child molester who was protected by the establishment and took his crimes to his grave without being punished. And then we have Rod Blythe, his fellow Shaw councillor, that the council also conspired with the local media to cover up his crimes and hide it from public view. We have in Hollingwood a Pythian standing, the son of the Royton Pythian. Keep it in the family, yeah? The son has bugger all experience in politics, let alone life, or the other way around, life let alone politics. And he is standing, has secured the Hollingwood nomination, and I'm sure that being Jim McMahon's employee did him a favour or two. This is another attempt by the McMahon to keep his control on the town as well as being MP, because to become a Prime Minister, he needs to control the town as well as control his parliamentary seat, which is why he's moved his offices to Chadderton, the now expanding new capital of the OBA cartel. A stone's throw from the Asda. Chadderton Town Hall is where he's based. Samosas continuously available 20 yards away in the new wedding venue, Asian wedding venue, made out of the historic bath, sold to one of Jim McMahon's close associates. So close, they shared dinner together, as well as going out campaign together. To the left, you've got the historic Carnegie Library, now a mosque, Islamic centre. I can't work out what it is. Maybe it's a brothel, because that's where the head teacher groomed two of his students and married them both. The historic Carnegie Library, again sold to one of Jim McMahon's associates, and again sold to a man with clear links to the OBA cartel. And the candidate for Chadderton North, who ousted the existing Labour candidate because the existing Labour candidate wasn't cartel enough, Naz Islam, the chairman of the mosque that supplies a sack of postal votes at the beck and call come general election time, is now the Labour Party candidate in North Chadderton. And should the people of North Chadderton, white, black, Asian, Muslim, should they want to fight the cartels, there is only one candidate that can stop them. The independent, Tracy Woodward. We have, in the other areas, candidate after candidate after candidate standing. All of them taking on the establishment, taking on the mainstream parties. And let's be honest here. There are some decent Labour councillors. There are some decent Conservative councillors. Hell, there are some even decent Lib Dem candidates. I wouldn't say councillors, but there's some candidates, and we'll go through them later, that I have nothing but respect for. But all of the mainstream parties have failed this town. And the independents are taking the fight to them. And this is this Thursday. And it's up to you. It's up to every one of you to go out there and vote and phone everyone and get in touch with everyone you know and convince everyone else to also go out and vote. Because despite them trying to censor me, have me arrested, have me attacked, have me murdered even, all I have been advocating for the last 2 years is for people to get out and vote. Use your democratic right. Vote, vote, vote. It's the only way we can reclaim this town. Vote them out. Okay, we have. Please like the videos. If you like the YouTube channel, subscribe to the channel. I know many of you haven't. Because I get the algorithms. And 50%, 60% of the people who watch my videos haven't subscribed to the channel. So I find that interesting. Probably because the 60% are all Labour Party or Oldham Council people. But 60% who watch my videos don't subscribe to the channel. Like the channel, please buy me a coffee. buymeacoffee.com/Recusant9. I would very much... Yeah, I'd welcome all the coffees I can get. I'm hoping that on Thursday night I will run a extra long transmission, probably starting around 10:30 and finishing about 3 in the morning, 2:30, 3 in the morning. And the purpose is to keep all of you abreast of everything that's going on at the 3 different locations where the counts are taking place. We'll be bringing you interviews with the independent candidates. The Labour candidates won't speak to me. The Conservatives won't speak to me. And the Lib Dems won't speak to me. They think I am beneath them. I'm fine for them to think I am beneath them because I stand alongside the people of my town who tune in every week to listen to me. So it's interesting that these people think I am beneath them. But we will run a transmission on Thursday night. So please... buy me a coffee, subscribe to the channel, and let's get going. I want to start by playing this video. And a bloke called David Sutcliffe is standing to be the mayoral candidate, but the Manchester Evening News in their hustings refused to invite him to the hustings. So they've excluded him. They excluded a candidate. Here, this is what he had to say.
Pilling, his deputy, the man who's probably... Good morning. Just before I start my day job, this afternoon at 12:30, the Manchester Evening News are holding hustings with the 4 main candidates, allegedly. I've not been invited, as per usual with everything, but I would say without me, today's debate is pretty pointless, because none of the other candidates are going to say to Andy Burnham, you are lazy, incompetent and corrupt. You have ruined the police force, you have got it put in special measures, and again, you abdicate all responsibility. When the GMP was put in special measures, and he's now admitted that he got rid of Ian Hopkins, he appointed Ian Pilling, his deputy, the man who's probably more culpable than Hopkins himself for the mess that GMP's in. This man is in charge of professional standards and basically pull the whole levers of GMP. The chief is a figurehead, the deputy is usually the one with power. And you can see where I'm going with this. This idiot should not be there if you wanted to reform and push forward. Andy Burnham, you have made lots of police officers' lives absolute hell. A lot of left with mental health issues because of your poor leadership, and I know that you really do not care. I've seen you act on behalf of the people of Liverpool. You know, you're very outspoken, you've taken things into Parliament, etc. But for the people of Manchester, you've been an absolute failure. Please remember that, people, at the ballot box and when you're filling in your postal vote. This man will turn Manchester into a city as corrupt as Liverpool. I'll leave it there. Thank you.
That's David Sutcliffe, retired inspector from Greater Manchester Police, standing on an anti-corruption platform. We shouldn't forget that there's two elections as well as the local ones. There's the Greater Manchester Mayor one. I'm sorry to break it to all of you. Andy Burnham will win. He will win because of the Asian bloc vote that the Labour Party have secured from across Greater Manchester. And he'll also win because of the people who now run the Labour Party in Manchester, the South Manchester, the metropolitan elite, the likes of Jennifer Williams and all of her mates at the MEN who have helped cover up all of Andy Burnham's crimes. That is why people like David Sutcliffe are coming forward. Unfortunately, it's not going to be enough, but that does not mean you should not vote. The only way we fix the Greater Manchester issue, the mayor issue, is there is an option, and it's all hidden away, and it'll happen. Sooner or later it'll happen. There's an option to get rid of the mayor. And that'll come. Watch, that'll come. There is an option to get rid of the mayor. Remember, none of us wanted the mayor. None of us were asked if we wanted the mayor. In fact, even Jim McMahon on his speech once he became MP, his first speech, criticised the GM mayor position. None of us wanted it. None of us asked for it. But sure as hell, we're all paying for it. We're not just paying for it with our money. We're paying for it with Andy Burnham and his team of corrupt GMCA officials going around and destroying town after town. To the entire green space debate, the Greater Manchester Spatial Framework, what Sean Fielding has committed this town to, the destruction of our green belt, all of that is to curry favour of Andy Burnham so he can rise through the ranks. The Greater Manchester Combined Authority and the GM Mayor position is something none of us wanted, none of us asked for, and really, we should all be campaigning against it. I'm sorry if your phone volume is low. I can put the mic closer to me if that helps. How's that, Steve? Is that better? And I can do this if need be. Just give me 1 second. I will try and... There you go. That's as loud as I can get it at my end. Okay, let's carry on. I'll start with the candidates. Oh, and Andy Burnham, I'm not wrong at all, Debbie. Andy Burnham will win. He'll walk it. Absolutely walk it. I'll bet my motorbike on it. Okay, let's do this, and I want to There we go. Let's do a whistle stop tour of where we're up to in terms of the candidates. Alexander Ward, remember this is one of the Glodic cartel expansion areas. 2 Asian candidates now, Shahid Mushtaq and Zahid Chauhan, and the other one is that Jenny, whatever her name is, the one who goes on Pakistani TV, because she knows she's reliant on the Pakistani members that control the Labour Party in Alexander Ward to maintain her seat. Jenny Harrison, yeah, that's the one. So, Alexander Ward, Zahid Chauhan, Andrea Valencia, Martin Dinoff, Jonathan Ford. This election is already finished on postal votes. Zahid Chauhan has won. Okay, so Dr. Chauhan has won. That's a given. Chadderton Central Ward. Elaine Taylor, the Labour Party councillor, is the current incumbent, so she's the not one standing. Sharif Mia hasn't done enough. Young lad. I wish him well, but he hasn't done enough. Jess Marnie, Barbara Bealey, no chance. And independent Northern Heart, Oldham, Jack Dickinson, young lad, probably in his late teens, early 20s, no chance. Given Elaine Taylor. She'll have won that. Chadderton North, massive fight here. The fight is between Mohammed Islam, remember that's Naz Islam from Naz Finance, the dodgy Naz Finance that I exposed a couple of weeks ago. Chairman of the mosque, close associate of Jim McMahon, linked to the cartels. He is standing as the Labour Party candidate, and the only person that has a chance against him is Tracy Woodward, the independent candidate. Tracy pulled just short of 1,000 votes last time, so she has a chance. I know Mohammed Islam and the Labour Party guys, the mosque people from Chadderton Mosque, they've all been out campaigning like mad, trying to shore up the Asian vote, because they are hopeful that the Asian bloc vote will see him through, because they believe that the white vote won't turn out in Chadderton North. So that's where that's up to. Let me just answer Chris. Chris, nothing to do with Oldham. It was Longsight. I think it was a Manchester councillor, Manchester Tory councillor. The cartels are everywhere. The cartel civil war is taking place increasingly across Greater Manchester. And what you're seeing with the cartel civil war, and you can see it here. You can see it here with Chadderton North Ward, and the Tories are playing it. Don't let the Tories pretend they're not playing it. The Tories have got their own minor minions from out there trying to fight the cartel civil war and take votes away from the cartels using cartel links. So you'll see increasingly in some of these areas the Conservative candidates are Asian candidates who are taking on Asian Labour Party candidates. It is a cartel civil war that is at the detriment of this town. Chadderton South Ward, there isn't an existing councillor there. So you've got there's Chris Goodwin there, Labour, strong chance he'll win. Kath Jackson, Northern Heart, again, they've just not done enough. They've not been out there, they've not done enough. Then you've got a couple of fringe parties that will get neither, you got Lisa Roddy and Bernard Aiken. The key issue, and Joe Beeston, not going to do anything. The key issue is whether Robert Barnes, and he's a good man, whether Robert Barnes can get enough votes to take on Chris Goodwin. Robert's been a tireless community campaigner. So he is trying his best. Can he take out Chris Goodwin? It'd be a massive coup if he does. I'm not a Conservative. I've never been a Conservative. But if I lived in Chadderton South, I would be voting for Robert. Not just because of the party he represents, nothing to do with the party he represents, nothing to do with his anti-Labour. It's because he's a genuinely decent man, and I think you should all be going and voting for Robert. Coldust, massive fight in Coldust. The police have been out, the cartels have been out, there's been fights on the street. There's Abdul Jabbar, 26 years, so much in trouble. Angela Rayner was out campaigning for him this week. She put a video out. Some of you may have seen it. I think she had to read his name off a piece of card so she knew who she was promoting. But Angela Rayner was promoting Abdul Jabbar. Of course, Jim McMahon promotes Abdul Jabbar because Coal Dust delivers the biggest block vote for Jim McMahon at every election. So that's where we're up to. Abdul Jabbar fighting it out with Montaz Ali Azad. Montaz is the independent candidate. I was in town centre yesterday and I bumped into his younger brother Shamuj, who's been doing a lot of campaigning. Shamuj and I grew up together, so I would, if I lived in Coldust, I would be voting for Montaz. I know a lot of the Asian people who are fed up of the corruption, and that's what it is, corruption in Coldust, are voting for Montaz. Whether enough of them will vote for Montaz, we don't know, because Abdul Jabbar's trick has always been, the Labour Party trick has always been to bring out Jeremy Sutcliffe, target the white areas of Coldust, and get the white Labour vote out to keep Jabbar in power. So, that's where we're up to. Too close. Montaz, Jabbar, it can go either way. There'll be a handful of votes in it. Crompton Ward, Lewis Quick is standing. Lewis is the Conservative chairman, so he is standing in Crompton Ward. You've got Diane Williamson, the existing Lib Dem councillor. Diane Williamson, as well as the others around the Shaw and Crompton area. This is the Lib Dem stronghold. It's the last bastion of Lib Dem power in the town. So that's where her, Howard Sykes and Rod Blythe, the child sex offender Diane Williamson. What did you know? Why did you keep your mouth shut as well, Diane? Yeah, none of you will say anything, will you? You protected a paedophile, didn't you? Because that's what it is. When you know someone is a child sex offender, a counsellor who had access to children through his governorships in schools, and you kept that secret, I don't think I'm the only one who thinks that you are then complicit in child abuse if you keep that quiet. Lewis is probably the only viable alternative there. Rob Vance is not going to cut. I think he'll come up short, if I'm honest with you. Lena Valencia Shaw, no chance. The Greens, no chance. They're just going to get 100 here, 200 there. Bassett Shah, isn't that interesting? Bassett Shah from Coppice, the Labour Party cartel bit of Coppice. Bassett was on the front cover of the Manchester Evening News during the height of COVID, complaining about racism and the rise in racism as a consequence of COVID. There was nothing in the article about any evidence of the rise of racism, nor was there any reference to Bassett Shah being the Labour Party candidate. That's right. He just passed himself off as a victim. Crompton Ward. Why is he standing in Crompton Ward? Because he can't get in the cartel-controlled areas, so he has to go and stand somewhere else. Failsworth East. Neil Hindle is flying. The Failsworth Independent Party, Neil Hindle, absolutely flying. Liz Jacks, you're gone. You are gone. I don't know who Chef O'Meara is, Conservative. Just because he shares a surname with me doesn't mean I have anything to do with him. Nor do I know who Lynn Thompson is. Both are irrelevant. This is a fight out between Neil Hindle and Liz Jacks, and Neil Hindle is flying. Yes, indeed, Andy. Failsworth West. This has had some mischief done to it. The mischief done to it is, you saw what Charlotte Green did last week, and you've seen the way in which they've been promoting Warren Bates as the Independent Party and naming him, whilst not naming Mark Wilkinson from the Failsworth Independent Party. The reason they've done that is intentional, so when people go out to vote, they're hoping that people will vote for Warren Bates, thinking they're voting for Mark. Now, I haven't got an issue with Warren whatsoever. He has every right to stand. Does he have a chance of winning? No. If you want to take Sean Fielding out, the Labour Party leader of this town, Sean Eric Fielding, the barefaced liar, the man who tried to have people sacked from their jobs for daring to oppose him, for daring to stand up to him. He in fact tried to have people, the family members of people sacked who had nothing to do with anything. Sean Eric Fielding, who has through Andy Burnham, has the protection of the police. Not just the protection, he can direct the police where he wants. What do the people of Failsworth West say? We'll find out on Thursday night. And of course, the best thing is what a top bloke Mark Wilkinson actually is. He's an absolutely brilliant, dignified man who has served Failsworth, copper beforehand, tirelessly worked in some dangerous situations, conducted himself with absolute professionalism and dignity. After he retired, walked into a job supporting young people in rehabilitation and reoffending, after they've offended, and trying to get them on the straight and narrow. Top bloke. Forget. He should be councillor. He should be leader of the town, is as far as I'm concerned. I'm looking at the candidates. I'm thinking Mark Wilkinson should be leader of the town. Hollingwood Ward. We've got Ronald James, proud of Oldham and Saddleworth. Big thing for Ronnie is, can he get the white vote out? Can he get the vote out? Can the white people of Limeside, can the white people come out and vote? Will they come out and vote? Will they believe in one of their own? Will they have faith in one of their own? Because if they don't, Kyle Pythian, I don't know how you pronounce, Jim McMahon's lackey, Councillor Pythian's son, is standing. Forget Michelle Stockton or Brian Lord, no chance. And the Hollingwood Ward does not have a current councillor because the existing Labour Party councillor is due to stand trial for child sex offences. Something else Sean Fielding and his mates kept secret. The existing councillor for Hollingwood is facing trial. Martin Judd. Isn't that right, Sean? Your drinking buddy is facing trial for child sex offences. And this is the thing, Katie. This is what they hate about it. We get one person in. It gives courage to the entire town. We can take the fight to them. We can take the fight to the corrupt Labour Party, the cartel-loving, corrupt Labour Party. We can take the fight to the paedophile-hiding Lib Dems, and we can take the fight to the out-of-touch Conservatives who had to be brought shouting and screaming to a position to stand as opposition. And as soon as the attention goes, they run back to hiding to how as they were lackeys of the Labour Party. I have Conservatives friends. They'll all admit they have not done enough. The 3 or 4 Conservative councillors have sat on their hands, have followed the Labour Party out of the council chamber instead of standing there and sitting there and refusing to leave and demanding that Sean Fielding answer questions on child sex exploitation. No, they followed him out. They stood and clapped Arooj Shah whilst he declared her loyalty to a childhood friend, a convicted heroin dealer and Dale Cregan's getaway driver. Apparently I'm going to be sued for referring to Irish Himi as Dale Cregan's getaway driver. Here I am again, Dale Cregan's getaway driver. That's what he's convicted for. It's all over the press, Dale Cregan's getaway driver. Isn't that right, Arooj Shah? Oh, Arooj Shah. She's measuring curtains, by the way. She thinks she's going to become the leader. The next leader of the Labour Party in Oldham, Arooj Shah. She's already lining it up. The phone calls have gone out. Sean Fielding doesn't know properly, and if he does, he's too idiotic to understand what's happening. The phone calls have gone out looking for the support needed, so as soon as the election's over and Fielding's out, Arooj Shah is putting her name into the hat to become the leader of the council in Oldham. That's right. A gangster's moll wants to be the leader of Oldham Council. Hollingwood Ward, Ronnie has a chance, but he has a chance because the others are so weak. Ronnie has a chance, but he's reliant on people going out and voting. Medlock Vale, Cartel Civil War, Sahar Abid. I've not heard her speak yet. I've heard other people speak on her behalf repeatedly, but I've not heard her say a single word yet apart from point at potholes. Atiku Rahman, the existing Labour and Cooperative Party candidate. Sahar Abid, Cartel Civil War, the fighting it out with each other. Will it be enough? Will they split the vote and allow Mark Birchall, who's been tirelessly campaigning, to make it through the middle? It's only possible. It's only possible, again, if the white community come out and vote. If the white community don't come out and vote, whoever wins the Cartel Civil War will become the councillor in Medlock Vale. Royton North, all been very silent on the Toxic Tower, haven't they? And there's not an incumbent councillor there. Again, the last one retired or resigned or stepped down or was sacked. I'm not quite sure what, under mysterious circumstances. Paul Goldrick, proud of Oldham and Saddleworth, has a chance. He stood before. He got 400 or 500 votes. He has a chance. Not only does he have a chance, he's been attacked by Neil Wilby and these associates, which makes me think that Paul genuinely has a chance of winning Royton North. Mick Howard is neither here nor there from the Labour and Cooperative Party. Russ Gosling, nah, there's nothing else there. It's for Paul to grab that seat and take it. Royton South. I'm sorry. It's clear to me Amanda Chadderton will walk that. Amanda Chadderton will win that ward. And Anthony Prince is standing again as a UKIP candidate, and I know he's got support, but he'll have a few hundred votes. It's going to be Amanda Chadderton who takes that seat. Saddleworth North. Massive fight. Garth Harkness, the Liberal Democrat incumbent councillor, been all but invisible during the campaigning, hoping that the traditional Lib Dem support will just come out and vote for him and he'll get in there. Luke Lancaster, the Conservative. I ain't got an issue with Luke. I've not met him. I've seen some of his posts. I think he's a bit young, but it doesn't matter. I know who I would be voting for in Saddleworth North. Gary Tarbuck, proud of Oldham and Saddleworth. Gary is the guy to vote for in Saddleworth North. I'm really, really, really hopeful that he get, the people of Saddleworth, where he lives. He lives in Diggle. They go out and vote for one of their own. We'll find out. We'll find out in 6 days. Saddleworth South. This was the Tory Hudson's seat, so Hudson's not standing. Simon Hodgson, massive chance, local character. Joined the game late, as he joined too late. Helen Bishop, no chance, independent. I worked with Helen in a past life, but she's got no chance. Kevin Dawson, Stephanie Shuttleworth, Max Woodvine. I've seen his posters everywhere. This is going to be a fight out between Simon Hodgson and Max Woodvine, I think. Saddleworth Western Lees. You know they're worried. The way they've come out and attacked Paul Shilton. The way they've repeatedly, it's the vile, horrible, dirty politics of attacking a man who they tried to have him sacked last week from his job in the NHS. Using the same tactic that Fielding used in attacking Mark Wilkinson and some of the others. Reported him to his employer a week before an election, investigated, cleared, because he did nothing wrong. Vile, disgraceful. Paul Shilton is the man to vote for in Saddleworth Western Lees. Forget the others. The Labour Party Ken Rustage. He stood because we exposed the last candidate. The last candidate was involved in helping time waste so Sean Fielding didn't have to answer a question on the grooming gangs in Oldham. He stood up there, pretended to be an ordinary member of the public and asked the question and wasted time. So the 10 minutes or the 20 minutes was for public questions was used up. Isn't that right, Sean? Yeah, no chance. Paul Shilton's the guy, and they're desperately trying to take him out. Shaw, forget Saeed Maroof Ali. Maroof's my mate. No chance whatsoever. He doesn't even go to Shaw. He spends most of his time putting up posts about where he lives because he wanted to be a councillor where he lives. But the Labour Party won't let him because the cartels control Medlock Vale. The cartels control Werneth. So Maroof has found himself in Shaw Ward. No chance. Tom Lord, he's the guy who stood to be MP. So it's really interesting that he's now standing to be a councillor. Mark Hintz has put in a lot of hours, a lot of work. I finally got to meet him in person yesterday. And they've all lost weight. I met a few of the independents yesterday, and they all look lighter in real life. They look a lot, they've been knocking on doors. They've been talking to people. They've been putting themselves out there. And Howard Sykes. Howard is so worried he's done something that's unheard of. He sent out a letter to people wanting them to vote for him and telling them all of his pledges and promises. Howard Sykes is worried. A week before the election, Howard Sykes is wondering, have enough people stayed loyal, even though he's been exposed for his association with not one, but two child sex offenders. St. James, Calfball, Labour, good support. Can Amoy get enough votes? Can Beth Sharp get enough votes? Will Amoy and Beth cut it, split the vote and Calfball win? All of those three, it's between any of those three. No idea. I'd love Amoy to get in. This town needs people like Amoy as politicians. The African Caribbean community in Oldham has been marginalised, has been disenfranchised, and it needs a voice. But it doesn't need a voice because Amoy is going to be the voice. It needs a voice to be the voice of the entire town. And Amoy, for me, is that person. She's not going to play identity politics. It doesn't matter that she's black. It doesn't matter that she's a woman. What matters is that she's a good woman. She has a good moral compass. She knows right from wrong. And she can take people with her with a charming smile and a softly spoken voice. She can win you over. And that's what we need in a town like ours. We need people like Amoy to be at the forefront of politics. In a different time, in a different world, the Labour Party would have been all over Amoy. But not in Oldham, where the cartels are increasingly more and more powerful. Amoy is the wrong type of black for the Labour Party. She's not Asian. Yeah? You understand that, don't you? You all understand that. Beth Sharp, I have time for her. I like the young woman. I've never met the young woman, but I see her energy and I look at her and I actually look at some of the other young Conservatives and I see potential there. I genuinely do. I just worry about the Conservative Party in itself and the people who control it. As in the existing councillors. Councillors like Pam Brime sits on the Standards Committee and helped cover up and foil investigations into Sean Fielding and Arood Shah. That means they're in it. The Conservatives, remember, at the election, at the last council meeting, the budget meeting, instead of voting against the budget, that means we have £37 million of interest payments a year. Instead of voting against it, a budget where the council's own auditor, not once but twice, raised the alarm bells of a town facing bankruptcy. You know what the Conservatives did? They abstained. How can you vote for those councillors? Now, I don't hold that against Beth, or Max, or Luke, or any of the other young councillors, or Rob either. I'd rather those four were our Tory councillors than the ones we've got in. St Mary's Ward. Dirty, dirty fight. Already the police have been called out looking for postal vote fraud after one of the candidates' mates put up posts of how they've been harvesting votes. Imran Yusuf, the Labour candidate, investigated for his role in the attack on the Israeli factory and his support of that. The Labour Party have been completely silent on anti-Semitism in this town because, as usual, the Labour Party politicians are neck deep in the scandals around the anti-Israeli, anti-Jewish narrative in this town. Isn't that right, Jim? Debbie Abrahams. You've got Aftab Hussein. Aftab is the current councillor, is the independent councillor. I like Aftab. I'll be honest with you. He's just a no-nonsense councillor. And the thing with Aftab, he was introduced into St Mary's to quietly take out Arud Shah because the local community were increasingly alarmed of that woman's association with serious gangsters. And the Labour Party, even though Aftab tried to get the nomination as a Labour Party candidate, the Labour Party suspended and blocked it. So Aftab stood as an independent and took out Arud Shah, even though Glodick Baths was handed over as a bribe by Oldham Council in an attempt to rig an election. I'm saying this to a camera and they can take me to court and I'll show the evidence that I've shown the police that I refused to investigate. Oldham Council attempted to rig an election that Arud Shah was standing in to keep her in power because she was Jim McMahon's mate. They sold Glodick Baths days before an election to an organisation, the Ghazali Trust, with declared interests in the community and declared power in the community. Waterhead. Paul Taylor, the Oldham Hearts guy standing there. Has he done enough? Has his form of electioneering been... Have the messages been of hope? Have there been enough messages of hope? I don't know. I'm not Paul's biggest fan. I don't need to be Paul's biggest fan. I've worked with people all my life who I don't necessarily get on with. But has he done enough? I'm not sure he has. Linda Dawson, I know, the Lib Dems. And look, here I am promoting a Lib Dem. Linda Dawson is a lovely lady. I worked with her. I first came across Linda when I worked in Holt's. She worked in the library in Leeds. If I lived in Waterhead... I can't believe I'm saying this, but yeah, if I lived in... And this is the thing. Forget the parties. It's about the people, isn't it? Surely it's about the people. I'd vote for Linda. Werner, forget it. Fida Hussein, one of the main Asian players in the town. That election is already over. Postal vote's already over. Okay, so that's what we're up to. Fire away with any questions and I'll try my best to answer them before I have a couple of issues I want to raise. What I'll try and do is get my timing right, but so I can have something to drink this time closer to Ramadan fasting ending, but I'll get that done. Paul, how you doing? Best of luck, Paul. I'm with you, Paul. I saw you, and I'm thinking, please, Saddleworth, Western Leeds, vote for this man. He's one of you. Mark, how you doing? I can see Mark Wilkinson's here as well. Good to see you, Mark. I know you've been really, really busy. I've been driving through Failsworth a few times the last couple of weeks. And, the signs, they're everywhere. The Failsworth Independent and Party signs are absolutely everywhere. So, I hope you you see it through. I really do hope you see it through and people turn out on the day and you take him out. The town is looking to the people of Failsworth. The town is looking to the people of Failsworth for leadership. Take out Fielding. Sorry, don't mind me. I'm just going through the... They are running scared, aren't they, Sally? And that's the thing with the Labour Party. Whatever we have done, we have changed the political landscape in this town. These people have taken the townsfolk not for granted, they've taken us for fools. And for 2 years we've been a growing movement, relentless, a growing movement. And the town is now politically educated in a way it hasn't been before. And yes, I am proud of how I've supported that, despite what they tried to do to me, and are still trying to do to me. Yeah, let's put that up, Debbie. Good luck to every one of them. And you know what I find heartbreaking about that, Debbie? Is that your name isn't on that list. That you were driven out of your home by gangsters associated with Sean Fielding and his Labour Party mates. That's what I find difficult to accept. How the police failed you. Hey Mark, how you doing? No, there'll be no word from the top for Fielding, Mark. Politicians are an interesting breed. They can sniff a dead man walking or a dead woman walking a mile away, and then they distance themselves, and then like vultures they descend to pick. Measuring curtains, aren't you, Arood Shah? Measuring curtains. Can you imagine Arood Shah as leader of Oldham Council? I'm alright with that. He'll keep me going for another year of scandal after scandal after scandal. Gangster after gangster after gangster. Arood, by the way, has your brother come back? Or is he still hiding out in Pakistan? Yeah. Brilliant, Debbie. Yep, he's my hero as well. Gary messaged me asking me if I was on today. I said, Gary, why are you messaging me if I'm on today? Of course I'm going to be on today. I heard they were going to try and shut me down and there was going to be a protest. And in fact, I'll get into that later. They managed to try and ban me for all of an hour on Facebook yesterday. And I'll put that post up until someone at Facebook saw a reason as to what had gone on. Julie, thank you for the coffees. You're my first of my coffees for today. So I am grateful. I'm not joking, really. I'm not joking. The only way I keep going is with your donations. And some weeks are quiet, some months are quiet. And I know it's hard for every one of you. I'd rather, if everyone who watched and I'm looking at this, there's 90 people on now. If 90 people bought me a coffee each, I'd be fine. I'd absolutely be fine. But unfortunately, it doesn't work out like that. So it doesn't matter. I will keep going for as long as I can keep going, and as long as I can keep the lights as long as I can keep the lights on. He's a disgrace, isn't he? JT Sutcliffe, Jeremy T. Sutcliffe. I've not seen as much of him this year because we've called him out, I think. We've called out the Labour Party and their ploy. So I've not seen as much as him as I would do in past years. No, don't be silly. But I think the national picture will be on the news, Paul. But I don't think anything local will be. I will tune in. I've got all my... you can't see my cameras. If I could turn it around and show you all my screens. I'm going to have all my screens set up for you guys. I'm going to start about 10:30, I think, and work my way until we've got to an outcome. I was going to go to one of the counts with one of the Proud of team, but no, I think I'm more used to all of you sat in front of a screen and phoning up the various independents and making sense of what's going on. So I will do that from here. He does, doesn't he, Debbie? And I'll share with you, Robert. Every now and then, I've never met Robert, but every now and then he will send me a message and check in on me, and I think that's decent. And it's a very decent thing that Robert Barnes does. He'll message me. He doesn't want anything, and it's clear he doesn't want anything, but he'll just message me and check in on me. And as Charles Garrity does, people like that. Yeah, I find that Nicola Hughes. I think many of you do that. You don't want anything from me, and I'm grateful you just drop a message and check in on me, and I find that really valuable. It's very lonely doing what I do, so I find that I find you guys checking in on me really, 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 really important. That's just it, isn't it, Charles? But I don't blame people, Charles. I don't blame people for not voting. It's happened because they've been let down by voting. They've gone out and voted and voted and voted, or the parents have voted and the grandparents have voted, and they've been shat on time after time after time. You did, Ian. You sent me 5 coffees earlier. I saw it earlier on. I was hoping to watch the football, Ian, but it's the first time, as a Liverpool fan, it's the first time I actually agreed with what the United supporters did here. Am I allowed to say that? I'm not a politician, I can say that. I the fact that they stormed the ground to make a protest, because in a democracy, that is what sets us apart from Saudi Arabia and Iran and all of those dictatorships. We have a right to protest. Ah, brilliant. Amoy, you're here. I didn't know you were joining us. Amoy, as the woman needs to be a councillor. Come on, Oldham. What are you doing? This woman is Oldham through and through. Everything that is good about this town is personified in the smile of Amoy. We just need to vote for her. We need to get her in. She is. She needs to get in. She really, really needs to get in. People should be voting for Amoy. This town needs politicians like Amoy. I mean it. As a long-standing Labour Party member and a lawyer, as a Labour Party man in other towns and cities, they would have picked up Amoy and moulded her and shaped her and promoted her, but not here, because she's the wrong sort of black. This is the most racist place. Not you or me, but in terms of its leadership, in terms of the politics, in terms of those who make the decisions. The identity politics they play, how they play one community off against another. No. We should be voting for Amoy. Yes, Karen, I also agreed with the Man United. As much as they ruined my afternoon hour because I wanted to watch the game of football, I also agreed with them. We echo those sentiments, Richard. Good luck with Amoy, yeah. Same Teresa, yeah. Good luck to Amoy. She's I hope she does it, and I hope one day Beth Sharps gets in as well, because I think there's a decent young woman. It's all about foundations. Forget the colours, forget the rosette. You're a good person or a bad person. You're going to stand up for the people around you. You're going to sacrifice yourself for the betterment of others. Those are the values that we look for in politicians. We just haven't got enough of them. In the council, we just haven't got enough of them. Oh my Lord, someone's bought me 50 coffees. Wow. Let me bring you something up. I'm just going to go and I'm just going to go and get myself a drink. Give me 1 minute so I can break my fast. Let me go and get myself a drink. And I want to go through something going on in the cartels in Oldham that has caused me significant distress, but we can't fear them. We've got to call these people out. We've got to keep calling these people out. I got a message through today from someone, and it's fine. You know, is a lovely lady who I've never met. I've had a couple of text exchanges with her. Who she campaigns in the town somewhere, and I sat down and reflected what she'd said, and she's right. I am fortunate. I am fortunate. I have a set of skills and experiences. I have an attitude where I couldn't care. Better or for worse what it's done to me in my life. But I have a cultural background and a skin colour that makes it difficult for the usual "you're a racist." That's a friend of mine, clearly, Neil Willoughby, if he's bought you a coffee. I'm not. I'm in a position where I can say the things that most of you would be stopped from saying, because they'd throw the racist card at you, and that's what I want to get back at you with, because you'll see what I'm facing from inside my own community. So please give me 1 second whilst I come back. I'm gonna just play the song whilst I go and get myself a drink, and I'll come back. Give me 1 second.
Too often, I'll say barefaced lies. I'll say barefaced lies. I'll say barefaced lies. Again, barefaced lies. Too often, I'll say barefaced lies. I'll say barefaced lies. I'll say barefaced lies. Again.
That's right, yeah, we got an agenda. And it's your money we're gonna spend, yeah. Think you wouldn't want to where it's all gonna end, yeah. Think you think we ever want to defend, yeah. Cause when the truth becomes so easy to disguise, you get shooting cold, overgrown, postal road, barefaced lies.
Barefaced lies. Barefaced lies.
Hey Sean, you got a party, got that little party going on there. Keep to the left, you can't think right, so everything you do goes wrong, yeah. Incompetence just leads to disaster. Corruption brings it on even faster. What you say?
That's right, yeah, we got an agenda. And it's your money we're gonna spend, yeah. Think you wouldn't want to where it's all gonna end, yeah. Think you think we'd ever want to defend, yeah. Cause when the truth becomes so easy to disguise, you get shit cold, overgrown, postal road, barefaced. That's right, yeah, we got an agenda. And it's your money we're gonna spend, yeah. Think you wouldn't want to where it's all gonna end, yeah. Think you think we'd ever want to defend, yeah. Cause when the truth becomes so easy to disguise, you get shit cold, overgrown, postal road, barefaced lies.
Barefaced lies. Barefaced lies.
Comrades, you always told us you'd build us all a new Jerusalem, yeah. You talk the talk, but when you walk, you only leave a crooked line there. And you don't see the trouble that's brewing, if all you do is just what you're doing.
That's right, yeah, we got an agenda. And it's your money we're gonna spend, yeah. Do you wonder where it's all gonna end, yeah. Do you think we ever want to defend, yeah. Cause when the truth becomes so easy to disguise, you get shit cold, overgrown, postal road, barefaced lies.
Is this where you wanna be? Debt and childhood poverty. Oh, somebody set us free from this corrupt kleptocracy. Oh yeah.
Barefaced lies.
That's right, yeah, we got an agenda. And it's your money we're gonna spend, yeah. Do you wonder where it's all gonna end, yeah. Do you think we ever want to defend, yeah. Cause when the truth becomes so easy to disguise, holding, overloading, postal loading, better thing. That's right, yeah, we got an agenda, and it's your money we're gonna spend, yeah. You won't wanna wear it all in the yeah. You think we ever want to defend, yeah. Cause when the truth becomes your reason to die. Yes, you're holding, overloading, postal loading, better thing. That's right, yeah, we got an agenda, and it's your money we're gonna spend, yeah. You won't wanna wear it all in the yeah. You think we ever want to defend, yeah. Cause when the truth becomes so easy to disguise. Yes, you're holding, overloading, postal loading, better thing. That's right, yeah, we got an agenda, and it's your money we're gonna spend, yeah. You won't wanna wear it all in the yeah. You think we ever want to defend, yeah. Cause when the truth becomes so easy to disguise. Yes, you're holding, overloading, postal loading, better things.
Okay, so let's carry on. I wanted to bring something else up to do with the election, so let me just find it. It's written by a woman I don't really like, I'll be honest with you. Helen Pidd is one of the Metropolitan elites. She's one of Jenny, what's she called? Williams. Jennifer Williams' buddies, but she's slightly higher up because she gets to write for the Guardian, the sort of job Jenny Williams dreams of. Helen Pidd is a North of England editor. So let me bring it up so we can have a look at it. Okay. Independence Day, the rise of hyper-local political parties. More than 100 locally focused parties are hoping to win seats in England's council elections on the 6th of May. This is why I don't like her. And you need to see this. This is where she lives in Stockport, from what I know. I've never met the woman, and women like her, people like her, don't interest me at all. They're condescending, and they treat the working classes with contempt, and then they think they're better than us, whilst the Labour Party bum lickers. So that's what these people are. But this is what I wanted to show you first of all. Here we go. At first glance, voters may assume these hopefuls are just local people fed up with tribal politics, wanting to improve where they live, and many are. But others are standing under folksy party names that disguise the fact that they have been founded by refugees from UKIP and or the Brexit Party, or less frequently from Labour, the Greens and the Liberal Democrats. What she means there are racists. White racists are the ones who are standing. Don't you, Helen? That's what you mean. And then she gives her example. Take the Rotherham Democratic Party. Founded in February, which is fielding 40 candidates. Now that's an achievement, but she glosses over that. It already has 12 councillors. There you go. It already has 12 councillors and it's fielding 40 candidates. For a group of independents, that's a massive achievement. Ignores that. Describing themselves as an inclusive party. Do you see the exclamation marks? That means she doesn't think they're inclusive. Made up of real Rotherham people. Again, see the exclamation, see those inverted commas? Not exclamation marks, sorry, that's my silliness of my grammar. Yeah, you understand what I mean. The RDP promises to focus on local issues, not national ones. But seems most obsessed with immigration. Well, perhaps immigration, Helen Pidd, is an issue in Rotherham, and the impacts of immigration, or the mismanagement of immigration. Perhaps that's an issue. And this is why I hold these people in contempt. One leaflet implies that Labour politicians in the town invited its 5,000 Roma residents. Helen, let me put 5,000 Roma residents next to where you live. It's not racist. All the research shows, all the government-funded research, the university-funded research, the council-funded research all across the country shows the challenges the communities that have had to absorb Roma communities, Roma residents have faced, the cultural, polar opposites and the consequence on local people, that's not racist. That's reality. That's the lived reality for people in these places. That doesn't make them racist. How dare you? Because that's all of that is insinuating, is these people are racist. This is the best bit. It also claims that a previous Labour leader applied for Rotherham to be a reception centre for immigrants. The Labour-run council was one of 99 local authorities to volunteer to be an asylum dispersal area 20 years ago. So it's true then, isn't it, Helen? If it volunteered, that means it applied. That's why the party seems so fixated on immigrants. Yeah. But this is where we should draw courage from. In our town, this is where we should draw courage from. There are 2,300 councillors across the country that are independent or small party representatives. That's over 1 in 10. Just behind the Lib Dems. It reflects a trend for people locally to turn against the big parties and concentrate on local issues which matter to them. Is that not what local elections is all about? Local issues? Come on, Helen. Is that not what local elections is about? Now, I know it's been a while since I've run political leadership courses for young people, and I know it's been even longer since I looked at the citizenship curriculum. But my understanding of local politics, of local councils, is that it is to do with local issues. It's to do with our bins. It's to do with our parks. It's to... Yeah. Here's a photograph. Lives in Stockport. One of Andy Burnham's ladies. Aren't you, Helen? Don't fear any of them. You shouldn't either. And this is why it's important. Jennifer Williams, her mate in 2016, when the Labour Party were in opposition and trying to refocus themselves. Why are so many asylum seekers sent here without money to pay for them? Barker Street Estate, Coldust, Oldham. Quite often they are placed in the poorest areas, so you get an over-concentration in one area that causes tremendous community tension. You don't say. When poor people who don't have enough then find other people come into their communities and their neighbourhoods, their angst is rarely to those who come in. Their angst is to the consequence, the impact it has on their lives, and how these middle-class fake liberals who live in Charlton and Didsbury, drawing 50, 60, 70, 80, 100, 250,000 pound salaries, look down on them, look down on us, and call us racists. There's a quote here I wanted to put up. Yeah, watch Jen Williams and Asylum Seekers in Manchester. No thanks. Come on, Jen, come on, live in Havershaw for a week. Then I might want to watch what you've got to say. Look who it is. Look who it is. And look who was the shadow immigration minister at the time. Keir Starmer visited Oldham. But I wanted to bring this up. I do accept that many in the Labour Party have not really wanted to have the difficult conversations with people about immigration. What Labour can't do is start with the assumption there are some views we don't want to hear or are somehow not legitimate. And yet, these slot McMahon, Fielding and all the others called us racist. To try and delegitimize our lived experiences of what we saw in our town. We're not racists. We want a fair deal for everyone, and we don't want to leave anyone behind. Nothing to say now, have you, mate? Nah, because the money's coming, hasn't it? Yeah. Taking us for fools. Taking us for fools. It's difficult, isn't it, Debbie? It's difficult to say that, or I'll put that back up, sorry. Because automatically, I read that and I know Debbie, and I know she's not a racist at all. But to deal with the issues we've got in this town, we've got to acknowledge them as issues first. We can't go about solving the challenges we have if we don't acknowledge the challenges in the first place. Those pictures, and I think Mark Birchall is responsible for many of them, those pictures of the atrocious alley gates and the back alleys in and around Havershaw. And then I saw the council strategy that they'd brought Manchester University in to do. And one of them was, we need, and I'm paraphrasing, but it's there. You'll see Manchester University were brought in to do this work. One of the, and it's on Chronic Oldham's page, by the way, if you want to go and have a look at it. It's on Chronic Oldham's page, so it says there, everything we talk about is evidenced. But one of the council strategies was, we need to educate the Roma community as to what to do when living in the UK. What do you mean, what to do? Putting your rubbish in the bin. We have an issue in this town, and this issue will grow and grow and grow until we deal with it, and we need bravery. So yes, I understand I'm in a privileged position because I can say these sorts of things. But even then, I have issues of my own to deal with, and I'll share these with you now. My friend Marcus put this up. Now, Marcus is doing well for himself. He's not called Marcus. He's called Mokhlis. He was a year younger than me at school. But, he's like many of my Bangladeshi friends, they anglicised their names. So Mokhlis became Marcus. And Marcus is done well for himself. He's just, I think he's bought the Turnpike or something. And he phoned me yesterday, invited me up after I'd commented on this because he saw, he knows me well enough to know something, and I wouldn't back down over something. But he put this up. There's a new building, and that's at the bottom. I walked past it the other day when my filming. I didn't realise this was up, but it's at the bottom of where Wix was, where B&M is, just around the side there. And they want to open, I'm not sure who they are, that's why I'm saying the word they. They want to open a new Islamic centre school. Islamic school, you can see. Prime location for an Islamic school. And they want 1,800,000. So they want 2 million, the best part of 2 million, to buy this. And the way they want to buy this is they want people to give them donations of 5 grand, 10 grand, 20 grand, 50 grand. And remember, Coldest and Westwood is in the top 1% poorest wards in the country. And Oldham, the government has identified, confirmed, is one of the most segregated. It is the most segregated place in the country. A government report identified that. And these Muppets, and I'm comfortable referencing them as Muppets, want to build an Islamic school. And they want £2 million in donations. So that's what that Karze Hasana means. It means donations, religious donations, Islamic donations. It's like an interest-free loan. It's an interest-free loan is what it means. And you get it back. But the people who are setting up as a business. So Marcus took objection to the fact that these people want money as an interest-free loan so they can open an Islamic school and as a private venture, but then they then get the money back afterwards. Yeah? Can you keep up? Yeah. My issue was that these muppets here, Nazrul Islam, Mohan Ali Arud Shah, Mohibur Rahman, Jim McMahon, were involved in this. They're involved in this. Muslim school is rated inadequate. That's the Carnegie Library. But what none of them reported, Blackstone Academy, what none of them reported was that the head teacher there had groomed, sexually abused, and then married 2 of his students. Isn't it just, Mark? Isn't it just indeed? So I object on the first ground of child safety and safeguarding, because time after time after time, these Islamic places, the same that happened at that EIC centre, one of the imams there was convicted. So this is what I posted. And I rarely post on these things, but Marcus is my mate. He is my mate. So what is it? Another jihad centre. Man comes and nibbles samosas and the guys that run it hand over a sack of postal votes. You can see I was taking the piss. I think it's very clear to anyone who knows me and my sense of humour that I was taking the piss. Another jihad centre where Man comes and nibbles samosas and the guys that run it hand over a sack of postal votes. But I have an issue. I do not believe it makes me anti-Muslim or anti-Christian or anti-Jew or anti-Hindu or anti-Sikh. Where in a town like ours, I believe that single faith, single gender educational establishments that take younger girls away from the mainstream is detrimental and divisive and encourages segregation and separation. And that opinion is not just my personal opinion. It's a professional opinion based upon over 20 years of advising government at the highest level on this issue. I disagree with Islamic faith schools, particularly Islamic girl faith schools, because it removes one of the only places where girls have an opportunity to interact, Islamic girls, Muslim girls have an opportunity to interact with wider society because they don't have those opportunities in other places. So I object. Enter this idiot. Azmir. Azmir isn't his name, obviously, it's Azad Mir. You can see his boycott France thing. So the boycott France thing will be to do with the headscarves. So he objects to the France banning of the headscarves, not of adults, but of minors. Without even being open, you called it a jihad centre. Well, actually, that's not what I called it, but, you know, it's clear what I called it and how I framed it. You're a effing clown. Sellouts like you give us Muslims bad name. How do you know these places brainwash people? Because I spent 20 years working in government across the world, seeing these places brainwash people, you muppet. This is the best bit. Need a good effing hiding. Yes, I said it. You give platforms to racist CUNTS to judge us without reason. Effing sellout. The term sellout Forget his abuse for a second if you can. And by the way, you're the racist, CUNTS is. The thousands who tune in and listen to me and watch my videos and engage with me, he's referring to you as the racist, CUNTS is. The sellout in this context means I am a betrayer of my race, or in this context, I'm a betrayer of my religion. And selling out means I've sold out to white people. So this person is racist through his use of the term sellout, because it's an anti-white position. Listen, Azad Mia, my loyalty is to my town and my people and my nation. He wasn't up for coming and giving me a hiding. Because cowards like him never are. Again, I wouldn't waste my time with a sold out soul. Sold out soul is very relevant. Do you see? I'm going to burn in hell soul. That's the reference to that. You don't deserve to interact with this community. Because all you do is find faults and accuse us all the same. You don't help no one. 30 years of public service, Azad Mia. Tell me what you've done. I have no right in this community. Do you see? The othering of me. I have no right in this community. Specifically, it's to do with Islamic stuff. Who are you to tell me what right I have and rights I don't have? Because you judge before you ask. You are no different from the racist group. You're an enemy of this community. Do you see? I'm an enemy of this community. The one that hates us in Westwood. You are their dog. You are an enemy of this community. The ones that hate us in Westwood and call us, you are their dog. Simple as that. So I am here. I am your dog. So you see the issue as well, as whilst I can call out and defend and try and find a way through and say some of the things you perhaps can't say, or many of you can't say. In the places I come from, I have to deal with this. Now he's referencing himself as a racist. Because by claiming I'm sold out, I'm a sellout, and you can see it again and again, he's clearly saying it's an anti-white sentiment. It's an anti-white racist sentiment. And like all the worst racists, yes, I reported him and Facebook took his post off. The one encouraging violence against me, they removed his post. So what I did, what he then did, there's a post about me being racist from a commenter made. Everyone knows that knows me. I never judge and I'm far from being racist. Read that. Who am I selling out to, Mr. Azad Mia? Why do I need an effing hiding? You never judge people without knowing them. So who is the platform I am given? Who are the racist CUNTS? I'm looking to the side now. Is it my friend Anita Lowe? Is it Sue? Is it Debbie Barrett Cole? Is it Mark H? Is it Lynn? Is it Julia Haywood? Who are the racists? Azad Mia. You're the racist. Now, I don't believe Azad Mia should be let off. So what I did, and I'll bring this idiot back up, I put this post up. I encourage people to read it. I'll just make it bigger if I can. And you can see I don't use a single swear word. Because I've gone on a journey as well over the last couple of years. And I think it was Marlene who told me, there's no need for you to swear. And I haven't sworn since. Because I have gone on a journey as well. You can read that. And I attached his post, and my friend Nelly, who I'll get to later. Some clown reported it to Facebook, and Facebook banned me and took off the post. I appealed, and an hour later you can see the post was back on Facebook. So after racially abusing me, calling me a sellout, encouraging my beating, this clown with his sunglasses and his anglicised name, Azad, boycott France. Clearly radicalised. I don't believe that his employers would be happy with a racist like Azad Mir. And like all racists, like the worst racists, they deny that they're racist, because that's what the worst racists do. I'm not being racist, but... And then his mate, Abdullah Al-Mamoon, who I'll get to later, gets in touch with a friend of mine, referencing me, the tosser, who believes all Islamic places of worship are jihadi centres. Do you see how they've took one thing I've said and made it into something else entirely? Where from that do you get what that lad gets? I'll get to that muppet in a bit. But my thing with Azad is, for someone who has such strong anti-white racist views, I don't think he should be interacting with white people or any people in this community, in our town. And I think his employer needs to know about him. This is his employer. In this restaurant, he works in this restaurant, which is why I asked people earlier what they thought of in this restaurant. And so many of you came and said it's a lovely restaurant, the food is spot on, the guys who run it are great. These are the brothers who own it. What do you lads think of hiring Azad Mir? Because if you now continue to hire Azad Mir, then I honestly believe that my townsfolk will share my opinion that you endorse the Mukhtar brothers, these are called, I think. If you continue to hire this racist if you continue to hire this racist, then you are endorsing these views and opinions. So yes, Anita, I know exactly who this boy is. I know where he lives. I know who his parents are. I also know where he works. And I don't think he should be serving people in a restaurant. Of course, I got the phone calls earlier. Don't say anything about him. This might happen to you. That might happen to you. They've already sent messages all across these WhatsApp groups. How you're anti-Muslim. No, lads, I'm not an anti-Muslim. I object to the Islamification of my town. I can distinguish between one and the other. I object to the segregation of females, to the segregation of girls at a young age. I believe it puts them at a disadvantage to reach the full potential and to integrate with wider society. I object to that. That doesn't make me anti-Muslim. Azad Mia works at Indish restaurant. Azad Mia, the racist. So many of you eat and order from Indish restaurant. I'll phone Indish restaurant up next week. We'll find out if Azad Mia is still employed at Indish restaurant. He shouldn't be serving white people. He shouldn't be serving any people with views and opinions like that. They are, aren't they, Lynn? They are racist views of others. I didn't want to do that, but I will not accept. I will not be bullied. I will not be intimidated. I will not be threatened. And I will not be made out to be anti-Muslim when I'm not. Which brings me up to Abdullah Al-Mamoon. Why is everyone so scared of him? He's the poison in our community. What have I done, Abdullah Al-Mamoon, by the way, OBA foot soldier? Have I called out the cartels for what they are? Have I called out the secret funding of Oldham Central Mosque? Have I called out the corruption and child abuse? How does that make me poison? Abdullah Al-Mamoon has done me a favour. He's reminded me, through his family connections, of the telecar story that I shared with you many, many moons ago. But I think it's time I shared the telecar story again. Abdullah Al-Mamoon will know all about the telecar story, won't you, Abdullah Al-Mamoon? The telecar story goes like this. He's the poison in our community, remember, were the exact words. There was a young Asian girl, and Telecars was the taxi rank on top of the Westwood East restaurant. And all of the telecar drivers were practically Bangladeshi. Many of the telecar drivers now are also heavily involved in Oldham Central Mosque. The journey to piety I always find interesting. Sometimes it goes along the route of heroin dealer, child abuser, gang rapist, to management committee member of a mosque. And I'm sure the parallels are exactly the same in the Roman Catholic Church and the Church of England indeed. Yeah. It's a conversation for another day. Anyway. Oldham. Telecars. Young girl. Minor. Minor. Hanging out in the taxi ranks. Girls do. Young people do. Some rebel, think that they're more westernized. Group of men, including someone very close to Abdullah Al-Mamoon, took advantage of this girl, groomed her. That's the correct term, groomed her. Gang raped her. The parents were poor and ashamed of what had happened. They knew that if they went to the police, the powerful cartel would completely ostracize them from the community and shame their daughter to a point where she would have nothing. Going to the police is not an option for many victims in the communities I come from, or their families. So they did this Sharia court type of thing, where the elders gathered. The elders being the cartel elders gathered. And the long and short of it is, as a parallel to the legal system in Pakistan and some of those Islamic countries, the parent can take a bribe as compensation, payment, instead of punishment. So the father got a car. I'm informed it was a Ford Sierra, to keep quiet about the rape of his daughter, gang rape of his daughter. The daughter was given a husband to hush it all over up. So the cartel found some bloke to fly over from Bangladesh and marry this girl. And the facade was this girl's baby was his. Oh yeah, she had a baby. She got pregnant. So during the Sharia hearing, these taxi drivers who'd all gang raped her. That's right, isn't it, Abdullah Al-Mamoon? Tell me at what point I'm wrong with this story. These taxi drivers that had all gang raped this child were marched in because clearly they had some responsibility here. Probably to pay towards a Ford Sierra for all I knew. But I was younger at the time and I just looked on and I couldn't believe what I was hearing taking place. And when it came to one person, one of these taxi drivers, his defense wasn't whether he raped a minor. His defense was the child couldn't possibly be his because when he took his turn, he used a condom. When the police investigated telecars, the story goes that the police refused to start arresting people because if they started arresting one, they wouldn't know where to stop. And you shouldn't, Anita. You shouldn't never go again. You should give the guys who own Indish, the two brothers who own Indish, every chance to do the right thing and remove this man from their employment. My friend Nelly, I call him Nelly, Afsar Ali, one of the young football players my age. I call him Nelly because we grew up together. And I always called him Nelly. I don't know why I called him Nelly, but we were watching something on TV together at when we were 4 years old, and the name Nelly stuck. So he's been known as. He works at Indish. He's a lovely man. He's gone through his own trials and tribulations in his life, and I know he would be horrified that he's working alongside Azad Mir. So I implore the owners of Indish to do the right thing. When I took my turn, I used a condom. So the child can't have been mine. I've told you, OBA cartel foot soldiers, stay out of my way. But every now and then you can't help yourselves. Send whatever WhatsApp message you want. You can hear it from me straight here into the camera. I object to the creeping Islamification of my town. That does not make me an anti-Muslim. I object to the segregation of women from the Muslim communities. That does not make me anti-Muslim. In many ways, I'm a secularist. There's a place for religion. It's a private space for religion. You should not enter the public space. Here he is. Azad Mir. I've told all of them, stay out of my way. People aren't scared of me. That idiot doesn't understand. The guys I grew up with aren't scared of me. I'm saying the things that they're too scared to say. The Labour Party should not be involved in running mosques. The cartels should not have control of the community centres and the council and the fast track to council resources at the expense of others. To have a chance of getting a decent social house, you should not have to hand deliver a sack full of postal votes. We're not the racists. We were never the racists. But we know who the racists are. We know who the real racists are. In this, do the right thing. I came once. You're a bit too flash for me. I came once when you first opened many years ago. Because a friend of mine started working for you guys. And I came and had a dinner, but you were too disco for me. The town is looking to you. That's my friend Shumwich. He lived opposite Nelly, actually. So Nelly lived on 24 Neat Street, and I think 22 Neat Street. And Nelly and Shumwich lived opposite, on the end house opposite. We used to play football on the wall at the side of Jew's yard, with all the pipes there, and the big wall. We're not racist. We were never racist. You're right, Sue. Sorry, I need to thank... I saw a 50 coffee thing come up earlier, and I saw someone say it was them, so I need to thank them. Sorry, just give me 1 second. It's difficult me doing this, by the way. I'm just, I've got a screen with all sorts of stuff going on one side, and another screen, and yeah. Lynn, I'm sorry your 5 coffees haven't shown on screen. I saw it last time you did it, which is why I need to bring it up. It's because you use the PayPal link, so the PayPal link just goes straight to me rather than this widget from Buy Me a Coffee. But I'm grateful. I'm grateful to every one of you that helped keep me going. I genuinely am. I'm just... it's been 2 years. It's been 2 years. We've been going for 2 years. Yeah, I know it's been a year since we started, or just under a year since we started these transmissions. But it's been 2 years. It started 2 years ago, when Arooj Shah and Jim McMahon were coming to Oldham Central Mosque to campaign. Essentially to come in to pick up postal votes. A High Court judge in London found a guy called Lutfur Rahman who ended up being with a criminal record. He ended up being kicked out of being the Tower Hamlets mayor because it was proven, one, the way in which the grants were handed out. We've got the same issue here, but how we used the mosques and the community organisations. And the judge openly criticised the use of religious venues to endorse candidates and gather votes and galvanise support. I object to that. That doesn't make me anti-Muslim. Let's focus on what's important. 30 councils in this country are already in control by independents, and 30 more have an alliance of independents in control. It is happening all over the country. Where's Paul Boots today? I've not seen him. Is he here? No, Lynn. Look how far we've come. We've faced them. We've let them call us whatever names. We've took their threats. We've took their abuse. And each day our numbers have grown. And this town finally has a set of candidates who are going in to the local elections on Thursday, fighting for their communities. Not fighting to be politicians, not fighting for a career, fighting for their communities. If there's any questions to ask me, have a go. I'm just having a drink, and then I'm going to call it a night. And I plan on being back. In fact, I've got a session on Wednesday. I've got an introduction to the Cartels. One of my samosa guides to the Cartels. I know I've not advertised it properly. I know a few of you have bought it. On reflection, I would have done it another time, but it is what it is. It's the night before the election. And it'll be another one of my blue board showings. I'll make sure I get the autofocus right this time, so it doesn't go hunting. I'll get that sorted. But it will be another one of my setups in front of that blue board. I'm pointing because it's in that direction in my living room. I came late to it, Lynn. I've shared it before. My regret, and it is a regret. I went chasing bright lights and thinking I could help change the world, when really I should have focused on helping change my town. But the journey there has meant I've come to the journey here. I don't think without one I would have been here. I would have been in the place where I am. It's been a strange 2 years. I've gone grey. I can see this, Mohammed, and I have gone absolutely. I'm gone as grey as they go. I saw it in the photograph more than anything. It's funny how what you see in the mirror as a person perhaps isn't what the actual reflection shows. I'm sure that's The same case for all of us. I'll put the link to the. I'll pin it, Paul. I'll pin it to the to one of the Facebook things. They have desperately tried to have me removed from Facebook. You've all seen that, and they have failed. You can see that they've failed. They tried to censor me in a democracy. A rabble. They called us. 5, 6, 7 of us watching it. They said, not the hundreds or the thousands that the stats show. We've took the fight to them. And there will be a reckoning on Thursday. And whatever happens, and we will win. I'm confident of that. Because we've already won. Because the winning has already happened. The moment we all said, we don't fear you. Call us racist. Call us whatever name you want. But we are going to stand up for our town. Best of luck. Best of luck to every one of the candidates. You have an entire town behind you. And I'm grateful. I'm genuinely grateful that you've stepped forward to help make our town a better place. Good night.
Do not fear them. Do not fear any of them.